Okay, hello everybody. Welcome to today's event. I'm Jason Gumpert from MSDynamicsWorld.com, and I'm pleased to be able to host today's session. It is a solution showcase all about Dynamics NAV and Dynamics 365 Business Central. Today's event is all about giving you in the audience a chance to learn about several solutions that could offer a lot of value to your own company or to perhaps your client's company, and nav-based solution. It's going to be fast-paced. There's going to be a lot of information packed into this hour, and it's going to be interactive. We do expect to leave time for your questions at the end of today's event. Speaking of questions and handling those, we recommend that you use the Q&A block. You should see to the right on the right side of the WebEx window. If you enter your questions at any point throughout the session, we'll hold on to those. We will make time for all of those to be answered before the hour is up. The format of today's event, we have 5 presenters, and I'll just put this slide up to sort of introduce who they are and where they're from. Each presenter is going to have 10 short minutes to give you a nice overview of their company and their solutions and how they add value to a Dynamics NAV or Business Central solution. And we're going to be moving pretty quickly, and I don't want to take up too much more time myself. So we're going to launch right into it here. Our first presenter is going to be Brian Lynch from Data Masons. Brian, I'm going to make you the presenter, and we'll be off and running here.
Okay, great. Well, Jason, definitely thank you for the time, and thank you again for all of you that is listening live or watching this on the recording. My topic today is going to be around the notion of EDI and business process automation. And so if you're new to EDI, EDI is really the notion of business-to-business automation. And so that can deal with oftentimes your customers, carriers, third-party warehouses, suppliers, broker trading networks, etc. And as you leverage your Microsoft Dynamics environment, as you can see on the screen, it may be around business processes such as the quote-to-cash process, procure-to-pay, and so you may have things like incoming sales orders, outbound PO acknowledgments, advanced shipping notices, invoices, payments, etc. And the reason an organization may do this is a lot of times some of the cost savings around manual data entry, around manual documents, avoiding errors. Us as humans, unfortunately, from time to time may key in the wrong number, and that may result in the wrong price, the wrong quantity, the wrong ship date, all of the things that really can happen in a supply chain. And so EDI has really been a technology around for 30 plus years. It's definitely changed a lot in the 20 plus years that I've personally been in this industry. And so you have formal standards out there such as ANSI X12, EDIFACT, UCS, etc. But you also have formats such as XML, flat files. There's really a number of different formats and standards that can be used to exchange this information. And so when we take a look at the Vantage Point solution by Data Masons, connecting that outside world to the left, again, we have business process documents being exchanged back and forth. And so these may be using what's called a value-added network. It may be using direct communication such as AS2, FTP, etc. Vantage Point is really kind of a black box sitting in between your Dynamics environment and, again, that outside world. And so as these orders come in, there may be data enrichment and transformation that needs to occur in order to make this successfully work. And if you think about things like my price to what my customer sent over, my unit of measure, what I call, their addresses, what warehouse do I want this to ship from if I am doing my own fulfillment, or maybe I'm doing drop shipments to my suppliers. Vantage Point basically enriches the document, validates the document, and then uses XML ports really for that last mile to physically create the transaction. And in the case of the order to shipment process, you'd leverage standard dynamics to execute pick, pack, and ship. And so that may be leveraging just the standard dynamics. It may be using third-party solutions such as eShip and other shipping applications. Dynamics, again, is executing the standard process. EDI is listening in the background, say, every minute, twice an hour, based off the frequency and schedule that you define to say, aha, this is a business partner and a business document that we need to electronically send out. And one of the misnomers about the EDI standards is the fact that it is a standard, yes, but that doesn't necessarily mean everyone does it the same. And the reality is that, for instance, Amazon is very different than Walmart, who's very different than Cardinal Health, etc. Although they're all using the same standard. The standards just tell you the possibilities. The Rubik's Cube of the various choices is oftentimes left up to that large national account. So as we dig a little bit further in regards to the partnership, a few things that I would bring to your attention. The first off is the approach that we've taken with no NAV forced modifications. A lot of the alternatives on the market basically embed custom solution into the NAV environment. We believe that EDI can be accomplished much faster, much quicker with the no customization approach. The other big difference is the no document fees. A lot of times with historical EDI providers, you had to use a value-added network, you had to have expensive document charges, and again, we've taken a different approach. So we integrate over 72 different integrated transactions, offering a full turnkey solution with fixed fee mapping. We also have options where customers can do their own mapping or can leverage our managed services offering, where not only are we handling the technical end, but we're actually running our software on a day-to-day basis for our customers. And again, all delivered with an organization focused on EDI, focused on Dynamics. So with that, what we'll do is we'll jump into a live product demonstration here. And again, EDI is really running in the background. And so this order that I processed earlier, I actually ran through the full cycles of processing this transaction. And so inside of what we call Transaction Lifecycle Explorer, that PO created that advanced ship notice, which created that invoice. And as that process was happening, we could see the various functional acknowledgement documents, etc. Now that would make for one very boring EDI demonstration, and so what I'm going to do is jump real quickly into Vantage Point, just talk briefly about, again, what's happening in the background. Again, this is not something that you're in every single day. This is really to set up new partners and deal with exceptions. And so we can see here things like critical alerts, documents on hold, and these are all basically business flows that are occurring. So I maybe had 1,000 orders come in this morning. Number 7 had a problem. In a true production environment, these two would be 0, and that one error would bubble up. We could see that visually. We'd also get representation of that through email alerts. Now, the processes that we talked about, again, if we manually did this, the 70-plus transactions into and out of NAV, and so as those are coming in. And what's happening, again, is typically this is all set up with our scheduling system that's running through basically automating the process, where literally you can say by document, by company, by business partner, how often does it occur, who gets notified if there's exceptions, etc. Now, as a part of our one-time setup, we are going to go through and set up the various business partners with the various business documents that you're trading. And so again, our professionals would remotely be able to help connect in. and you'd be able to set up things such as POs, ASNs, invoices, etc., along with our team assisting in regards to configuration. Again, whose pricing takes precedence, how do we handle unit of measure conversions, etc. But the end result is basically that we've got a transaction inside of Dynamics, and in this case, this particular transaction, and here we go, our MS Dynamics World Order, and again, EDI has filled in all of the values for us, has went through things like unit of measure conversion, pricing, and at this point, again, we would just execute our standard pick, pack, and ship process to be able to go through and, again, generate those outbound transactions. So in conclusion, again, we've been doing this for over 20 years. Just some of the industries served, such as consumer packaged goods, food manufacturing and distribution. And for those of you in those industries, obviously you can see there's very specific things that are out there that, again, are unique to your industry. Same thing as you get into automotive or pharma. Again, just specific logic that we have built out over the years to assist in those EDI processes. For those of you thinking about Dynamics 365 Business Central, we're ready for you. And again, for those of you that are new to that, come here in the fall. Basically, NAV is moving to Business Central, and the Vantage Point solution is ready for you. So with that, thank you for the time here, and I will turn it back over to Jason here for the next presenter.
All right, thank you, Brian, and nice job. I'm going to hand things over to Ryan from K-eCommerce to take us the next leg here. So Ryan, welcome.
All right, thank you very much, Jason. And thank you everybody for attending and listening in on the recording. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take us through what we do at K-eCommerce. So essentially what we do is we build e-commerce solutions, so online stores, so that you can sell your products, your services to any customer out there, be it business to consumer, if that's your business strategy, or to your existing customer base, if that's your business strategy as well. And we integrate or we connect it to Dynamics NAV or Dynamics 365 Business Central. So we are ready and we do work with both. So essentially what we're doing is we're leveraging a lot of the maintenance, a lot of the work that you're already doing in the ERP, and we're going to bring that information up to the website, let your customers easily and conveniently do business with you, transact with you online in a medium that they're looking to use, because that's what they do on a regular basis in their personal lives, and then have all of the orders that come in from the website automate across to the ERP, so be it Dynamics NAV or Dynamics 365 Business Central, and so you can take care of the important things, the fulfillment, the invoicing. You don't have to take care of the manual input of any orders. So it's a complement to what we just saw with Data Masons with EDI. So this store that I've built here doesn't take very long to build. I was able to do it. I don't need a technical background to do it. And I'm able to put this together so that I can start selling to either my existing customer base or to new customers who's come on. So this apparel store is what I've put together. What we can do here is if we're just about anybody in the world who comes onto the website and we don't have an existing account with this store, then we can come on and we can buy at a retail or a list price, and that comes out of Dynamics NAV or Dynamics 365 Business Central. So imagine that we're looking for a new suit. I've got a wedding coming up here in a couple of months, and I need a new suit. So I can come onto here and I can find the product that I'm looking for, and I can see additional information. And what's great here, what we're leveraging with the additional maintenance that you're doing in Dynamics, is we're bringing up the information that you're already maintaining in the ERP. So that's things like your image with Business Central, all of your titles, your item numbers, your longer descriptions, any attributes as well that you have, and of course pricing. And the other thing you can bring up is inventory, and this is all done in real time. So any information that is in the ERP can come up to the website, and then if you make any changes in the ERP, so for instance, you change your price tomorrow, you add a new promotion, like we're seeing here that it's $399 instead of $500. This is all information that automatically changes on the website based on the ERP. And then if we're going even more complex and we're doing more of a business-to-business strategy, so you have different price lists for different customers, or you have different product offerings or what we call catalogs for different customers, you can do that as well. So you personalize the entire experience for that customer. So I'll give you an example of that here. Because I'm an existing customer on this site, I can come into here and I can log in. Every customer account that exists in Dynamics can have access to the website. So when they log in, they can come into this personalized dashboard and see the last 5 orders against their account. I can see a quick status on all of them as well, so I can see if they've been shipped out. So that eliminates the need for me to pick up the phone and call customer service. That eliminates all of those costly, post-sale calls that might occur. Customers can do all of this on their own, in their own portal. And then from there, they can also see frequently ordered products. So I can see the products that I order on a fairly regular basis, be it 30 days, and I see them sorted by the frequency at which I've ordered them as well. So for someone who does business with you on a daily or a weekly basis and who just wants to reorder the same products, rather than them typing in an email or picking up the phone and calling a salesperson, they can do it all on their own right from this screen rather than having to jump through hoops. So we're trying to make it very convenient and very easy to do business with you. So again, like I said, I'm going to just add this suit to my cart because I need this for that wedding coming up. And then I'm going to look at a different way of ordering. So I showed you, going through a category. I showed you the home page, and we can also go through a search. So if I have a good idea of what I'm looking for, we can go and search for it in the keywords so the customer can find exactly what they're looking for. And then we can also use a filtered search so that customers could then narrow down the search results according to specific variables or what we call attributes. And again, attributes can come up from Dynamics. The last way, and this is more tailored to a business-to-business type customer, is an express order tool. So with the express order tool, what they can do is they can even enter in product codes or search terms and find exactly what they're looking for. So they can enter in all of their order right here, either line by line. They can copy from Excel and paste into this, or they can even just select another line that's on their order, and they can see any complementary and substitute items that have been added to the site as well that you're maintaining as the merchant. And so you can make sure that you're able to upsell and cross-sell the customer throughout the entire experience, getting them to increase those order totals. And we know that customers who have these tools in their own hands will end up ordering more over time than if they were entering in orders directly with salespeople or by email. So I'm just going to add this embroidered shirt. And there we go. So I'm at $480. I think I'm good. I'm going to move on to the checkout. So as I said, when we're doing more retail or B2C style sales, we can allow customers to come into here, purchase at a list price, continue on through the process, and they'll just need to enter in their own information. So they'll enter in some billing information. Because I'm an existing customer, everything's already filled out for me, and it's all based on Dynamics. So the information that exists in Dynamics comes up to the website. So I could select from a different shipping address on my account. I could add a new address. I can ship via multiple different carriers. So we have integrations with UPS, FedEx, USPS, and then Canada Post and Purolator. You can do pickup in store. You can set up your own flat rates. So basically, you have a lot of flexibility on how you're going to ship the items out to the customers and how you're going to charge them for those shipping costs as well. You can take in more information from customers, so give them the ability to add in a PO number, shipping instructions, or required date. And then we have our review of the order. So if you have any sales taxes to charge on the website, we can pull those out of Dynamics and have those charged right on the website, or you can work with third-party solutions out there like Avalara and CCH. So you have the ability to go in and charge those costs to the end user based on configurations from Dynamics. And then everything is multi-currency as well. So if you want to work in US dollars, Canadian dollars, euros, any other currency you can, you just have to set that up on the ERP side. And then we have coupons for discounts and rebates. And then lastly, and I think most importantly, is payment information. So how's the customer going to pay you? For those existing customers who can take things on account, who have terms with you, they can take that right through the site. They'll go against their terms and you can invoice them for it later. And then K-eCommerce is fully PCI or Payment Card Industry Level 1 certified. So that means that all credit card information that goes through the website goes through our infrastructure and not through yours. You never have to worry about a PCI audit because you're taking on an online channel. Now I'm just going to confirm my order here. For any of you in the audience who have ever ordered online, I know you've probably received an email to let you know that the order's gone through. The same thing happens here. So that email is going to be sent off to the customer, let them know the order is confirmed. You're going to receive the email internally as well, just to let you know the order has come across. But by the time that email hits your inbox, the order will already be in Dynamics. It's already been keyed in automatically for you. And what's great as well is because of the way that we integrate with Microsoft Dynamics, because we don't sit inside or we don't embed, it means that if Dynamics, for whatever reason, is unavailable, be it for an upgrade or just downtime, then the website will continue to run, will stay up on its own. It's not going to rely on Dynamics being up for your site to be up. So your sales, your revenues are not going to be hindered by the fact that your ERP isn't up and running. So you do have that flexibility there. So K-eCommerce has that integration type that makes it so we're discrete. We're not sitting inside the ERP, and we're not relying on the ERP for resources. As I said, the customer can always come back and they can check on any past orders and invoices at any point. So they can see if something's been shipped out. They can see tracking information. They can reorder off of past orders as well. And they can even see invoices. So they can pull up an invoice from the past. And this is as far back into the accounting history as we want to go. Now, as a last step, what I want to do is I just want to jump into Dynamics 365 Business Central just to have a look at the sales order that we just created. So that sales order number was 1034. So we'll just pull that up. And so the order is going to be identical to as if I had created it manually and typed it in manually. All the information will match. Everything is going to come through from the website. So all I have to do now as the merchant is take care of pushing it over to the shipping department, pick, pack, ship, and put the tracking information into Dynamics 365. And then that'll go back to the customer in an email as well. So it eliminates that post-sale call the customer has to do. So that's a really quick review of it. If you want to have a look, see more information, you want to go more in depth with it, we're more than happy to take care of that for you. I just want to take the opportunity to thank Jason and everyone at MS Dynamics World for inviting us into this solution showcase.
All right, thank you, Ryan. Thank you for presenting. And we are going to move right along here to Liz from FastPath. Liz, I'm going to make you the presenter.
So first of all, thank you for inviting FastPath to present. I am Liz Pateo. I'm one of the directors of sales here at FastPath, and we are a security audit and compliance software company. And so basically, we've been doing security audit and compliance products for about 14 years now, and we leverage our staff, which includes a team of CPAs and certified internal auditors, to make sure we're following the latest accounting standards and keeping up with the latest compliance standards, so that we can, continuously stay on top of all of that to provide products to help you with your audit and your compliance needs. We have over 1,000 customers across 30 countries. And some of the newest innovation that we've created is that we're able to work across platforms. What we recognize is that a lot of organizations don't have one single system in their ecosystem. They might be using Dynamics NAV or Business Central in conjunction with another product, maybe Salesforce, maybe Workiva, maybe Zendesk, something like that. And so we're able to bring in connections to these other products and look at organizational risk across these products. So let's say, for example, you were using Salesforce to process customer orders and keep track of customer information, and then that information was transferred into Dynamics NAV. You would want to have visibility to make sure that the users that have access to create the customer orders in Salesforce maybe don't necessarily have the option to release those orders in NAV. And so we give you that cross-platform visibility and functionality. So really, what is our goal at FastPath? And our goal is really to help you confidently answer 3 critical questions. Who has access to your systems? What are they doing with that access? And where does that leave you as an organization vulnerable? And this is really important regardless of the size of your organization or what industry you're in or anything like that, because there is risk in every organization that you should probably keep on top of and have a look at. So what I'm in right now is our FastPathAssure.com environment. This will connect out to your Dynamics NAV environment or your Business Central environment. So we sit outside. We are hosted in Microsoft Azure, and we use the Microsoft Azure Hybrid Connector to connect out to your data. And we give you the ability to have great visibility into the permissions that you've granted to Dynamics NAV or Business Central. I'm using NAV as my demo here, to see where really you might have some vulnerabilities. So in our access reviews, we can quickly and easily see what users have access to. So I can run this report by a single user and show all the objects that a user has access to. Or I can actually look for a specific object. Maybe I need to know who can modify vendor bank accounts in Dynamics NAV. And so I go ahead and I run this report, and I'm running it for all companies, but I can choose a single company if I'd like. And I can see the users that have access, the type of access they have, whether it's execute or modify versus just read access. And I can even see how they're gaining that access, what role ID and what role name. So if I see a user in this list that really shouldn't have access to this, I can quickly and easily know where to go to remove that access. And we can group access, so we can run access by what we refer to as critical access groups. They're just groups of objects. So I've created a group called Audit. It contains multiple objects, so I don't have to do individual reports for each of those objects. And here you can see within seconds, I now have a very easy insight into who has access to the most critical areas of my system. Okay. So now I'm beginning to get an understanding and a picture of where I might have specific vulnerabilities, and I can go through and make those changes. Okay. Now, I'm going to go back to user access just for 1 second, and I'm going to pick on a specific user. I'm going to pick on Javi here, and I just really quickly want to see what types of objects Javi has access to. And I can even limit this down to table data objects. I don't have to look at all objects. And we can see Javi has access to quite a number of objects in the system. And if I narrow this down to just one company, even, I'm still at quite a number of objects, 12,000 objects. And again, I can even limit this down further to just what kind of modify access he has. So if I want to do that, I'm still at 2,500 objects. Trying to analyze this to see where there might be overlaps or where there might be issues with this access is going to be very, very difficult. So what we've done at FastPath is we've come up with a conflict listing specific to Dynamics NAV. This conflict listing can certainly be edited and modified for any organization to include custom code and custom windows. So basically what a conflict is having combinations of access to objects that could potentially be risky. For example, if you have access to modify a customer and to modify payment terms, you could potentially assign more favorable payment terms to a customer than what they deserve, or maybe to make your aging look better. Maybe you're commissioned or bonused on some sort of aging, and if your customers aren't paying in the proper amount of time and they're rolling over to past due, it might be impacting your commissions, and so maybe you might change those payment terms a little bit, right? So we want to have visibility into all of these potential issues. So now if I come to user conflicts and I go ahead and select my user of Javi, I can now run this report, and rather than looking at 2,500 objects, I have 75 conflicts. And again, I can limit this to just one company if I'd like, and I can see there's only 25 conflicts for Javi. So much easier to really have an understanding of where there are potential issues and where there might be overlaps. And so what I can do here is I can also document my controls. Okay, so this is a minimal risk for my particular organization because we have a customized bank account page where Javi has access but can't necessarily make changes to those bank accounts. Okay, so we have full visibility into that, full ability to document our conflict mitigations, our controls, if you will, so we can really start to take a good inventory of where we might have issues and what we're doing about those potential risks in our organization. Okay, so that's the access review and segregation of duties piece. I'm going to very quickly hop into audit trail. So some of the things that we're concerned with is, well, what happens if we can't adequately segregate duties? Maybe somebody needs access to maintain vendors, but they also need to process transactions with those vendors. A great control for that would be monitoring changes to those vendors using an audit trail tool. And we do have the changelog product. What we do to, what we offer in addition to the changelog product, or actually as a replacement really, is our audit trail tool. And the reason why we offer our audit trail tool is because we have greater visibility into changes that can happen outside of Dynamics NAV as well as within Dynamics NAV. So here we're looking at some vendor changes, and we're identifying what they are. This was a deletion of a vendor. We can see who made the change, the date and the time, and it even tells us the application from which that change happened. So this happened directly in the Dynamics NAV database. I'm going to go ahead and see if we can find some updates here, so we can see old values and new values. We've seen some updates. And again, it's continuously identifying where those changes came from. So if we wanted to see any changes that happen from maybe an update statement in Microsoft SQL Server, this application would clearly state where those changes originated from. So that is some functionality that the changelog cannot provide. Changelog can only look to changes that happen within Dynamics NAV. The other thing is reporting is super easy. Again, any of these reports can be exported. They can be scheduled for automatic delivery, so you have that opportunity to quickly and easily deliver these reports to the proper users for review. Because one of the biggest things is not just setting up an audit trail, but actually doing the reviews and making sure that you're staying on top of potential issues. And then finally, the last tool that we offer is an identity manager tool. And this is really a quick and easy way to route requests for either new Dynamics NAV users or to change existing Dynamics NAV user permissions. And the reason why this is important is a lot of times you set up this beautiful security structure with roles and everything assigned properly, but as your users mature and they've been with the organization for a while, sometimes that user security gets watered down, if you will, for lack of a better term, because maybe they've been given some additional permissions because a colleague is out on leave and those permissions weren't clawed back. They weren't removed. Well, here we have the ability to go ahead and create modifications and set effective dates around those modifications to access. So I can go ahead and go into the Identity Manager tool, which apparently is giving me an error right now, and say I want to go ahead and set up a request for access. And I'll look at one of my open requests here for Chris Bryant, and I want to change his access, but I only want to give him some temporary access. So we can see that there is start dates and end dates around those requests. And I think I'm out of time.
Yeah,
yep.
We are at
right
time.
There.
I'm sorry.
Yep. No, not a problem. So I actually was wrapping it up right there. If you'd like to see more, you can certainly contact us.
And we will have contact information up near the end of the session as well. Thank you, Liz. And I'm going to turn things over now to Katerina from YAVEON to take us the next stage in the hour.
Yes. You guys should be able to hear me now.
We do.
Everyone can hear me? Perfect. I'm going to do like you said and get this out of the way here. So thank you again. We are saying hi actually all the way from Germany, so I'm saying good evening to everyone. Welcome to our session. My colleague Andy and I are going to tell you a little bit about YAVEON and actually our solution for the batch manufacturing industry. The industries that you can see there is kind of our focus. So we focus on the life sciences industry. YAVEON currently has 12 locations, which are mainly in Germany, Austria, and Switzerland. And we also just opened our first location in the U.S. last year, which kind of brought us here. We offer a complete portfolio, which also includes DMS, BI, and the electronic quality management. But today, we, in this presentation, we focus on our ERP, which is our YAVEON Pro Batch. Quick introduction to us. So you hear me talking right now. I'm actually for marketing in YAVEON. I had to kind of jump in for our channel manager, who usually is here, and some of you might already know him, Andreas Dorsch. And then there's also Andy here, who is our head of pre-sales and kind of our, as I like to call him, ProBatch guru. A little bit about YAVEON ProBatch. We are certified for Microsoft Dynamics, which, as you probably know, we have an obligation to stay up to date with the latest version of Dynamics. We are mostly in these industries, as you can see, and some of the key characteristics in the chemical industry, for example, are that we offer hazardous substance and goods management. In the pharma and medtech industry, we focus heavily on validation, which are just a couple of fun facts here. We are fully embedded in NAV, and of course also in the latest version of NAV 2018. We are in the works right now of Business Central, which we should be ready next year. We do know that most of the customers actually have a really big challenge, which are the regulatory affairs that they need to fulfill on a daily basis. So we do understand that challenge, and we kind of made it to our advantage with our YAVEON ProBatch solution. We know that on the one hand, there are laws from the FDA and in Europe, the European Commission, in order for our customers to sell their products. And on the other hand, there are certain guidelines to obey by, especially for the pharmaceutical producing companies. So we actually developed an intelligent structured implementation method, which you can see there on the bottom right, which is our validation toolkit. The goal here was to implement this solution as fast as possible for all the companies and actually validate the solution at the same time. YAVEON has been audited multiple times, and we've actually passed all of our audits successfully. So in order to show you a little bit more and give you a kind of look into YAVEON ProBatch and what we can do, I'm actually going to switch over to Andy, and he's going to tell you a little bit more about that.
Thank you, Katarina. Yeah, let's come on and have a quick view to the solution on YAVEON ProBatch and some important highlights what I wanted to show you and we want to discuss. On the left side of the screen, you can see that the solution is totally embedded into Microsoft Dynamics NAV, and that's why the user should not recognize any difference in the interface in using this software solution. And our aim is, on the one hand, to develop the solutions for the life science industry and to fulfill all the regulatory affairs and the requirements. And for that, there are some critical functionalities are required also in the software. And some of them you can see on the right side on this slide. Let's start. For example, we deliver a very simple but very powerful rule management tool. And with this functionality, our customers can set up their own individual process rules in a standard software without developing any software code. That means, for example, one rule can be that in a pharmaceutical area, you cannot, and also in the food area, you cannot deliver a sales order when the status of the lot information is blocked or when the lot expiration date is exceeded. This is one of the rules. Sorry, Katarina, can you go?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Thank you. So when the lot information is critical or it's blocked or it's, the expiration date is exceeded, you cannot deliver the sales order. This is a rule which you can set up in the system, of course, and some more of that. And with this tool, the customer is able to do the individual processes by configuration. And we, as a YAVEON company, are able to deliver a standard tool for all these industries. And another highlight is, of course, in the pharmaceutical and medtech area is to make processes secure and to use electronic signature for that. So if someone, for example, someone wants to set a status of a lot from blocked to release, it's a very critical process. And also the quality department has maybe access to this process. And they have to sign into the system with their account and with their password for doing that. And there is an electronic signature functionality in the software. This is also very important for that industries. Of course, the integrated quality control functionality I want to show you in the next slide. This very, very integrated software functionality, and with that you can make sure that your batch and your lot, what you produce or what you purchase, is always in the kind of specification you set up. On this side here, this is also a highlight, is of course the complete item lot tracing functionality. So maybe you are you deliver some goods to the market and you get a recall. That is a very critical process, and you have to be prepared for that. And for that, we can use our lot tracing functionality based on different kinds of levels. We can see here. What you see in this screen is not only a list of a lot of data, it is a list of every movement which is tracked in this lot tracing table. Starting in this example by the sales shipments. So you can see that a lot of customers get sales shipments with this lot information. And in the top you see a small icon that is create an address list. For example, for this recall you have to create a letter which is sent out to all the customers for this recall. And for that you need all this data ready in place. But not based on this sales order, you can go deeper and deeper and deeper, and you see what happens with this lot in the history. So it was produced, of course. It was picked in the warehouse. Someone set the lot status or the expiration date, and so on and so on. So that is one of the base functionality which our customers require to us. And another example I told before is, for example, the integrated quality assurance functionality. This is something what is missed in the standard of NAV, but it's necessary for our business to have a full quality assurance program into Dynamics NAV. Starting, of course, in the beginning of the supply chain, when you purchase goods. Maybe there are some specifications behind, some vendor specifications behind, and so on. And in these specifications, there is defined how features or characteristics have been important for inspection orders and which tolerances are necessary for that. So, and within every process in the system, we are able to create inspection orders. And in the inspection orders, we are able to store all the information and characteristics which belong to a lot. Yes, and it's starting from purchasing to producing to the end of the supply chain when we send out the deliveries. And after that, of course, you make, because of the results which are stored inside there, you make decisions what happened with the lot. Is it free, or is it released? Is it maybe free only for Germany, or is it free for US? So we handle specifications inside this. And the result is, of course, a COA, a certificate of analysis. So that are only some examples for functionality which is inside the system. Of course, if you have more questions,
we are at time.
Oh, okay. Please contact us, and we invite you to get more information from us.
All right. Thank you, Andy. Thank you, Katarina. I am now going to introduce Arno from To Control. And Arno, I am giving you presenter privileges, and you should have those now.
Thank you, Jason.
All right, my pleasure.
Yes, well, welcome to all attendees. I'm sorry, Yes, I'm happy to see you all with here, so many. So the coming 10 minutes I will show you a part of Dynamics NAV. Yeah, maybe I should say, not say it directly, but it's many a time ignored by you because, or maybe I should speak for generally more, many times ignored by the NAV consultants. That part is the authorizations. Yeah, most of the time you see implementations and then the authorizations come at the end or don't even come, and then everybody gets the authorization super, and then the authorizations are always super. So the setup of security with NAV, that's always a hot topic. So I will present you the coming 10 minutes then something that you have finally can easily help your customer with the setting up the authorizations, because it's always something that it's a problem that it looks so complex. So, and our solutions will help you then with simplifying the setup and the maintenance of the authorizations, and even simplifying the monitoring of the quality of your authorizations that are set up. So that's what I'm going to show you and bring you with the coming few minutes. So after this session, you have the solution that you can bring to your customers and help them with the authorizations. Why am I telling this story? Let's first introduce myself. My name is Arno Mauer, and I am from To Control, and we are a company with only certified information system auditors with a long journey in NAV, and by that also a very deep knowledge of NAV. And from that background and based on that experience, we designed the tools from the experience that we had with a lot of assignments with authorizations helping to customers. And we developed the tools about 10 years ago, and a lot of customers with NAV are already using it. So, and from our experience, we know that, yeah, maybe better than others, that authorizations are a must in all the environments for having a proper internal control environment, for being SOX compliant, even for being GDPR compliant. Even people don't want to hear this anymore, or to be compliant with other internal and external rules. So yeah, you can ask even your client about authorization. Speak sometime to your client about authorization, because a lot of time the certified, the financial auditors did bring it already up within management letters. So it's always a topic within a lot of clients. So I will not leave you longer in suspense and show you a little bit about the solution. What we did do is we developed an add-on for Microsoft Dynamics NAV in combination with a cloud application. With the cloud application, we are able to maintain and monitor all the authorizations, the things I just mentioned. And with the add-on, we are able to refine the authorizations, even to field level or record level, or to validation rules on field level, if you like. So the green part, that is the add-on. That is a plug-and-play solution. So you don't have to change any things. It's always plug-and-play. And it's available for all versions from Dynamics NAV, already from 3.6 until the latest versions. Business Central, we have mentioned already a few times. And you can already find this solution on the marketplace when you type in field security. And the blue part is the cloud solution. It's running on an Azure environment, and it complies with all the, it helps you with filling in all the compliance rules. What we do in our solution is to help you with the whole complete life cycle of authorization, because when you are trying to help your customer, or your customer is setting up authorizations, yeah, it has to have a design. It has to start with that. It's just like an NAV implementation. It always starts with a design, and then the building, and then refining. So that's are the 3 steps that's already mentioned here. And after going live, you have to maintain, you have to manage all the authorizations, and finally you want to have a process that continues monitor the quality of authorizations. And all these steps, each step in this life cycle, is supported by functions in our solutions. So during the design, we support you with creating a framework like an organization diagram with functions and roles. Each role can then be attached to a role center of Dynamics NAV or to the permission sets of NAV. And we help you also with the building with a role generator of all the permission sets that you need. And then you can define all the permission sets not only to the table, because that's a lot of time an issue, but also to the fields or a record level. And then we support you with transformation from things you did build in the test environment to the live environment. And after that, we support you with the management and the monitoring. So with that, you have a solution, like I said in the beginning, for simplifying the setup and maintenance of authorizations and to monitor the quality of that. Well, a few short demo in the last 4 minutes I have left. Looking to the monitoring, we use a framework also on Azure, and that framework always asks you the questions that auditors are asking you. So who can change the supplier bank account? So who can do the payment proposals, or who can do what? And you can set up this like a scheme like here, and then you can set up the conflicts. So who can do, for example, the first one and the second one. And the nice thing from this framework is you don't have to go into here and ask the questions again and again. No, the system will check them for you as many times as you like. And it will then inform you with notifications, with emails, if you have set up something like, I want to know if there's a breach, or want to know how many people are there, or want to know if there's a new critical permission. So this monitoring helps you to check you directly if your authorizations are still set up like you thought they were set up in the beginning. Things like that are, for example, you want to be people from the credit department be able to do the payment proposals, but the system can inform you if you see someone else from the credit department is able to do the payment proposals. So by that you are always notified directly, and that is also helping you with going to the future, because there is coming a continuous auditing, more and more the request for that. So this is very important. Another thing that's important then is we help you with setting up the correct authorizations. So therefore you can easily set up an organization chart, things like this. And think in organization charts when you set up authorizations. Don't think in people. The end users are not the one who should be the focus for setting up authorizations. So you give authorization to a purchase employee or to a purchase manager. And within this, you grant the permissions they have within that role. And when a user gets that role, they get the permissions. So this is for the authorizations. So, and if you are finished this, you can refine it with field security. And you can use the requests, for example, with an approval for I want to have a user for maybe for this example, temporary, the purchase employee from this date until to this date. So, and you can ask an approval, for example, a controller in a company, or things like you like to do that. For refinement, and I only want to show you something, not how we do it, but you grant someone, for example, permissions to an item, but you don't want them to change, for example, the descriptions. So from here, you want someone to get this error message. You are not allowed to change the descriptions, but maybe you want them to be allowed to only to change an item vendor number. So, and then you don't get the error message. So by that you can refine the permissions. And another example is from here, and that's the last example I will show you, is that you also can refine the permissions on a validation level. For example, you want to assign a very high credit limit to a user or to a customer, then you can say, no, you are only allowed to assign until 10,000 euros, for example. So with those functions, we support you in getting more control over your data, so getting more control from an internal control point of view. So yeah, a lot of customers are already using this from us. You can see here some examples. And I think the most important is that you have to get started and you have to check the reliability of your automated information processing. So I think with this you have the tool to get insight in the quality and the tool to go to your customer and to help your customer get the insight. So my timer was going on, my 10 minutes.
Yeah.
So Jason, I give it back to you. Thank you.
Thank you. I know I hear the bell tolling there. Great, and we are at the top of the hour. I do want to try to get in a few questions, so if you haven't entered yours in the audience, please do enter it. And let me just jump right into it here. So a question first directed to FastPath. Liz, can FastPath be used to support HIPAA requirements?
Can you hear me? I just want to make sure I'm off
Yes.
mute. Okay, perfect. Yeah. So we can support HIPAA requirements in some aspects, not full HIPAA compliance, but we can support some of the requirements.
Okay, great. Arno, is that one that you wanted to take, or is it? I could throw it open to anyone else if they have an angle on HIPAA that applies to their solution.
Yeah, with HIPAA requirements, what do you mean with that?
Oh, it's a U.S. health privacy.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, from a privacy point of view, we also, you can set up the questions from a privacy point of view. So our solution always offers a pre-filled questionnaire with all the questions, depending on the industry that you're in. For example, the production industry or something. So, and from an HIPAA requirements, you ask also privacy requirements, and then you can also check on who is able to read things you are not, should not be able to. So, yes, we can then support it, yes.
All right, very good. Anyone else want to talk to that particular HIPAA compliance? No? Okay, let me get to a couple.
Jason, I just want to
Yes.
make one last comment on that. When I say that we look at HIPAA, somewhat but not completely, again, we can do the same thing. We can tell you who has the ability to view sensitive data, but one of the requirements in HIPAA is to actually show details of those views, and that is something that, that's where we can certainly compile a list of the users that can view the data, but if they have actually viewed the data, there isn't right now any functionality, I believe, that can do that.
Liz, that's the same with us. Yes, we can't see proof backwards who did view the data. Yes, that's correct.
All right, excellent. Thank you. A question for data masons here, Brian. I'm asking, what would we do if we want to do our own mapping?
Yeah, absolutely. So you would leverage the same tool that my mappers use, which we call the Universal Data Translator. And so this has a lot of pre-built functionality specifically for Dynamics that would make that process easier. We also have a library of pre-built maps that you would be able to get access to. But yes, that is one of the options to be able to either build from scratch or take over maps that you've licensed from us.
All right, great. A question for Ryan and K-eCommerce asking, do you have a sales portal?
Yeah, we do have a sales portal. So essentially what salespeople can do is they can log in to the system, that they don't need a license, they don't need access to Dynamics at all. And then once they log in, they can select a customer and create orders on behalf of customers that'll go directly across to Dynamics NAV or Dynamics 365 Business Central. And so like I said, they don't need to have access to Dynamics at all. They don't need a license, and they can do that from any device as well. So it can be a smartphone, a tablet, or a laptop.
All right, excellent. One other question here for YAVEON, for Katerina or Andy, asking, do you plan to migrate to Microsoft Dynamics 365 Business Central?
Yes, Andy speaking. Of course, we plan the migration to Business Central. We are just in the developing process at the moment. And our plan is to be ready for next year in 2019.
All right, very good. And I think, well, we are over the hour, and we've gotten to most of the questions here, so I think we are going to begin to wrap up. Thank you to everyone on the panel for taking the time today to present, to answer some audience questions. Really appreciate all of you being here. Thanks to the audience as well. for your time. Please do look for a survey that will pop up as you depart today. We appreciate any additional feedback you can provide us about your experience. With that, we are going to wrap up. Thanks again to everyone on the line, and have a great day.